Today we're doing a deep dive on the Chase Sapphire Reserve to help you figure out whether it's worth it for you. Big favor before we dive into everything though is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. Starting off with year 1, your decision's pretty straightforward. If you're eligible for the intro bonus, and if you can complete the minimum spend in the required time, then the card makes sense. Ideally, you can use at least one of the credits and value it in full. But the math is very much in your favor. Feel free to pause, but they do have new eligibility rules. Main idea is that if you've received an intro bonus for that specific financial product in the past, then you might not be eligible. The Chase Sapphire Preferred card and the Chase Sapphire Reserve are different financial products for this purpose. You're allowed one bite of the apple, and they're two different apples. There's also an active Sapphire rule, so even if you're eligible, you might not be eligible if you have another Sapphire card. So downgrade and wait a few days before applying. If this sounds confusing, I made a tool for it, and I'll link it below that walks through the key questions. Reminder that if a card isn't a fit after the first year, it's not abnormal to downgrade it to, let's say, a no annual fee card. On the personal side, at the moment, downgrade options include the Freedom Unlimited and the Freedom Flex. Given the changing landscape, I think it makes a lot of sense to lock in bonuses while you can. On that note, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, but otherwise, it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Long term, the equation changes dramatically. You still have that $7.95 annual fee, and now you don't have an intro bonus to counteract it. To me, there's 4 key perks that can help, so credits, multipliers, lounge access, and travel perks. The way I think of it is 4 quarters of basketball. You don't have to win all of them, but if you have bad quarters, then you're playing from behind, and it becomes harder to catch up and win. Credits are arguably the easiest quarter. There are a lot here, and if you don't want to use paper and pen, we have a calculator so you can fill in your numbers and follow along. I'll link it down below, but should also pop up if you Google CSR worth it AskSebby. The one thing I'd encourage though is to be brutally honest with these. For example, if you don't have a Peloton already, you're probably not buying one because of this credit. Going to an easy one, we have the up to $300 annual travel credit. This is anything that codes as travel. If you travel, this should not be hard. I kind of feel the same way with StubHub and Viagogo. I get that it's semi-annual and some people don't like that, but if you go to events at all, it should be pretty easy. Whether you're into sports, music, or theater, or comedy acts, or Disney on Ice, there's probably something for you. The dining credit can be a bit annoying given the city limitations, but it's also semi-annual rather than monthly. If you travel, you're probably going through one of these spots. Let's use Vegas as an example. There's a lot of popular spots. For example, Hell's Kitchen and Nobu are both part of this. If you wouldn't otherwise go to these places, then discount the credit. The best way is probably just to reverse it. If someone sold you a $150 credit to Nobu, what's the maximum you'd pay? For hotels, it depends on where you go. Taipei has hotel proverbs, which we were looking at for our next trip. St. Regis Bangkok is another option, which is on our list. Stateside, there are economic picks, but you're in a tough spot. Bellagio in the 200 range isn't bad, and we like it. Another good one is C. Baldwin in Houston at $179 per night and $419 for 2 nights. We've stayed there in the past for a similar nightly rate, and I think it's fair. If you're a premium traveler though, this is easy. Just book Bulgari, Ritz, 4 Seasons, and that's fine. For everyone else, I'd find the affordable options and then wait for competitive pricing given the 2-night requirement. If that feels too annoying, then discount to 0. Apple TV Plus is one that people got angry at me about marking down to 0, since there's apparently really good shows on there. My main is still Netflix, but there's probably non-zero value in another streaming service. Yeah, let me know what to watch on Apple TV. Lyft credit of up to $10 a month, I think is easy. But I also don't own a car, and we do a lot of rideshare. DoorDash is probably too annoying to bother with unless you already use DoorDash. If you come out ahead from credits, the rest is gravy, you can pretty much coast. If you are below though, then you need to catch up with the other quarters. One potential big one is spend. Even though there are a bunch of multipliers, I'd argue that you should ignore most of them. You probably don't spend enough on Lyft for it to matter. Dining is also a weird one. The rationale being that there's no annual fee cards from other issuers that get you 3x transferable points back, so arguably a non-factor. What we want to do is isolate for tangible value. With that, I think the 8x on Chase Travel and the 4x on flights and hotels booked directly are the most interesting. You might also want to factor in opportunity cost. 2% or 2x is pretty fair. The idea of the card, to me at least, is that they're very much targeting the core audience of Henrys, so good incomes, but not rich. Especially in very high cost of living cities where 100K can be considered low income. So think about people that have climbed the corporate ladder in New York, or a ton of professions that have competitive comp like finance, medicine, law, or tech. With the segment, 25K to 100K on travel per year as a couple isn't abnormal depending on income. As points people, I think a lot of us have a hard time grasping how a lot of normal people just pay out of pocket. There's going to be people who spend enough on travel where the multipliers are their winning quarter. The third quarter is lounge access. This quarter is for the consultants and corporate travelers. If you're a deployment engineer traveling every other week, if you're in management consulting, a lot of other business development jobs, or ones where you need to understand manufacturing process, you're probably traveling a decent amount. If you broke even in the prior sections, this might be where you get some value on top. You get access for U+2 guests for Priority Pass and also Chase Sapphire lounges by the club. It's access for U+1 guests when flying Star Alliance for select Air Canada Maple Leaf lounges and Air Canada cafes in the US, Canada, and Europe. Priority Pass is pretty mid in the US and a lot better internationally, especially Asia. Air Canada lounges I think are decent and they've been quieter and emptier than their counterparts, which is nice. For Chase Sapphire lounges, you have options in Boston, New York JFK, LaGuardia, Philly, Phoenix, and San Diego. Hong Kong operates more like a standard Priority Pass lounge, and Dallas, Vegas, and LA are coming soon. Maybe I'm alone here, but I've actually enjoyed my visits. Food's more interesting and good vibes overall. If you're expecting it to be this elite VIP perk, then you're probably going to be disappointed. If you travel normally for work and you're looking for a coffee or a bite while sending off some emails, then you're in a good spot. I'd put Chase Sapphire lounges in A tier and is very good, only being really beat out by the business class lounges like United Polaris. But yeah, I'd take Sapphire lounges all day over United clubs. For normal people, this is probably a nice -3 or +3. For people that travel a ton though, this could be a +20 quarter. The last quarter is arguably the most questionable to me. People that get the most value are the ones that want simple setups. For a lot of us who have many cards, this might be a non-factor. With the card, you get IHG1 Rewards Platinum status. This is normally 40 nights per year or 60k points earned per year. The main perk is complimentary upgrades, welcome amenity at check-in, and early check-in. You also get this with the IHG1 Rewards Premier credit card though. I have it, Mandy has it, and a lot of you might have it. A perk only has value if it's adding something new. If you rent cars, primary CDW collision damage waiver can add up. Note that you still need liability, which is separate. Yeah, CDW could easily run $10 to $30 per day of your rental. At the same time, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card also offers this too at a $95 annual fee. If you're ahead, great, but otherwise it might not move the needle. You also get other travel protections like trip cancellation insurance and trip delay insurance of 6 hours. If you have other travel cards already, then also doesn't bring anything to the table. The last consideration is that the Chase Sapphire Reserve opens up more doors for redeeming points, a greater value, with pay yourself back, and points boost. My issue though is that I don't really care about these. I'm going to keep transferring points to partners for flights, same of Hyatt to redeem for great hotels, because that's where the value is. Given that focus, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card arguably does exactly the same thing, but that's for me. If you're in that Henry camp looking to keep it simple, I could see that up to 2x points boost making a big difference. Overall, the idea is to run the numbers for your situation and how you value things to see the end result. If it makes sense, then awesome. If not, it's fine. Tons of other options that might be a better fit. Again, if you want to learn about cards, whether Chase or someone else, and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and down below in the description box. And if you're curious, all legal affiliate disclosures can also be found below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave an abacus emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions: how much value are you getting from the credits? What does your spend look like? Also, how are you valuing the other perks? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, hit the like button, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.